ask about my life, but I ain't telling shit.
Yeah, only gonna say this shit once, ain't gonna say it again. Finna go roll me a blunt, then back it right over.
Episode number 7 with I Said What I Said with Guap, with a special guest star, Shaky, with from An Hour with Crowder, with your own podcast. I had the own podcast guru. I wanted to bring you on since you got a lot of episodes in the tuck. I would like, as far as consistency goes, I see that you really kept up with it. So I really admire that about you. And you always got some good, God, you always got some good conversation, good content. I'm stumbling over my words, but yeah. So what? I don't even. You the one who you brought up this. I didn't even know this word that you even brought to me. Manosphere. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Like, what is the manosphere?
Manosphere.
That shit.
What the hell is the manosphere, and what does that even?
Okay, so the manosphere is like, I feel like it's this world where men talk about their problems, which is good because men don't have a safe space to talk about their problems and the things that they go through because society has built this construct, this social construct that men are supposed to be hardcore and provide and just shut up and work. And that's cool to have that space, but then it geared off into this weird space where it's just a whole bunch of guys sitting around the podcast table talking shit about women and black women at that. And I was like, yuck, why? This is giving me beta male energy. Like
big beta male.
Like, why are you guys sitting around talking about women? If you came up against a hoe and she played and used you, just say that. Because y'all are talking about women in a general standpoint, and that's not all women. And so those are your Kevin Samuels, those are your Fresh and Fit. We all just seen that debacle about them talking about black women. Yeah.
I didn't see what happened with that. I didn't even. I feel like I'm off now. What happened with that?
Man. Okay, so the Fresh and Fit podcast is basically these two. I don't want to say immigrants, but these two black men. One is from like Saudi Arabia or something, and then the other one's from like Hades or something. And they basically just invite black women on, and not black women, any type of women they say. But they sit around and they like try to break down like their theory of why men act the way that they do towards these women. So Asian Doll came on and it was a whole like little scuffle with them because he was over there talking about, oh, you're being rude. And she was like, I'm not being rude. You're just being sensitive. And he kicked her out and, kind of called her like the B word and all of that stuff. And then another thing happened with them where they was like, someone asked them in the comment section, how do y'all feel about the dating app Black, which is, we know, a black dating app? And they was like, oh, we don't get on that app because we don't date Shaniquas. We're not night riders.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Two black men saying that they ain't night riders. And the dude from Hades, I was like, bro, you look like the night. What are you talking about?
And you from like
what are you talking about? Night riders? Like, if we ride in the night, we cannot see your ass. So it's like, what are you talking about? You're dark skinned. Your mom is probably dark skinned. What are you talking about? That was so offensive. So the whole internet rolled their ass on that. And it was just so much.
Oh shit, my bad. But first off, it's so much wrong with that. It's when you said Kevin Samuels, I was like, oh, that's because he's a bunch of bullshit. I'll admit, the first thing I had really seen of Kevin Samuels was that one clip when he was talking to that woman. He was like, basically, if you average, you're gonna get average. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of I empathize with that because I kind of feel like you got to meet. It's best to be with people on your level. So it's kind of like if you can't require more than what you can give. So I got what he was saying on that. But just listening to a lot of the other shit, it's really, really cringeworthy. And I've just come to, me and my best friend talk about this all the time. I've honestly come to the conclusion that a lot of, and this is not all men, but I feel like a lot of our black men, they're not here to protect our black women. It's like it's laughable to them, or like that's not something. I don't know. It's like they just don't see the value in black women, and for whatever reason I don't see. And then I feel like a lot of men don't see the value in women. Period. It's more of, I feel like a lot of men, they don't even, they don't like women. They just like pussy. You really just like the fleshlight. You don't care about the person attached to it. You don't care really. You do a lot of flexing to prove yourself to other men, and you really just here to get your rocks off. And I feel like a lot of men fall into that category, and I think that that also falls into that toxic masculine category, because that goes a part of that MO of the women being inferior, or this. I don't know. It's
just seeing women as an object, basically you
right.
just said it like, we just, not we, I'm not a man, but men just see women as this thing where I can get my rocks off. And I mean, you can do that with anyone. You can go get a sex toy. They treat
Right.
women like sex toys. Like they just get the rocks off and then that's it. They don't care about how she feel, what she doing, how her day went, just whatever. And you could say the same thing about women. Women are kind of coming back. I mean, hot girl summer, city girls, but they're just portraying the same energy that they got so long from men themselves.
I honestly, I think, and I don't get me wrong, because there are a lot of women, because I've dealt with some women who, there's low down women, there's low down men. So, that goes without saying. So that's not to say that it's all women, but I do feel like what you were saying, a lot of the women, especially with, let's take gold digging, for instance. I feel like if I was sitting there thinking about that, I might have just been hot. I don't know. I was having hot thoughts, but I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, because I was saying, men, we always getting down on women, oh, she a gold digger, oh, she this, oh, she that, or oh, she this. But it's kind of like, if you really think about it, it's only been within the past however many years where women really even were able to be independent and not have to depend on a man, to where they don't have to depend on them financially. Like, they couldn't even get shit in their name. They couldn't work. They couldn't. So it was kind of like men used money as a way to oppress women, because it was kind of like, you need me. I'm the one who can bring the money. You can't get shit yourself. So you need me. So I feel like, in a way, gold digging has kind of been a way to kind of flip that and use what's being used to oppress them again, you know what I'm saying, against their oppressor. It's kind of like, okay, well, nigga, if you got all the money, then show me the money. If that's the angle that you coming at me with, if that's all you gonna offer, you gonna hold that over my head, wouldn't break me off some money then, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's where, and I don't even think a lot of women realize that's where the mindset is stemming from. But I think it's all just a big old domino effect. Because, like I said, if you really think about it, women ain't even been able to be popping their shit like that. Not in history. Women, the top of the total pole have been, well, we know cisgender heterosexual white males, but also just male species as a whole. That, historically, they're put above women. So women ain't really had shit to, for themselves. So yeah, I feel like it's a little flip of the script. That's what I think at this point.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say, like, the aspect of like gold digging. Men, it's the same thing. Men are like, oh, what do you have to bring to the table? Because you're a gold digger or whatever. Well, it's the opposite of that. Like, men are like, oh, well, you're a gold digger. And then women are like, oh, well, this is the only thing you bring to the table. So I think it's just like a clash of like each gender is trying to figure out what each other brings to the table. And they're just pointing out the worst things, which is money or pussy.
Right.
You're either going to bring money to the table if you're a man, or you're going to bring pussy to the table if you're a woman,
Right. And that's it. I feel like we're not finding the value in each other anymore. And I don't know if we ever really did see the value, I guess, in each other. But I feel like it's because I've been seeing a lot, especially on Twitter. Like, it's really, I don't know, because I really wasn't active on Twitter like that. But once I had started being active and trying to, get more followers or whatever have you, just seeing the way men and women just talk about each other. It's just kind of like, all men ain't shit, they don't deserve shit. All women ain't shit, they don't deserve shit. And I'm just like, God damn, when did y'all get so? I kind of feel like what you said, it was kind of like a, if she hurt you, or if the nigga hurt you, like, just say that. Like, you ain't gotta generalize everybody and put them in that same, box. That's not
And I really feel like the underlying issue, and a lot of people always like, oh, why you got to bring that blackity black talk in here? But it really is like, I feel like the meat and potatoes of this is really COINTELPRO in the Black community once again, because Black men, for the most part, like, yeah, you said like, well, they haven't ever protected them or whatever, but before like Black men starting wanting to be in this position that white men was in, then they did protect us, you know? So it was just like, it was just this flip of the switch where Black men wanted to be in the spaces that white men was in. That's why they go off and go get them a white girlfriend, because that's a status of like wealth. Like, oh, look, I have a trophy. I have this white woman that can get me into spaces that I wouldn't be able to normally get in with a Black woman. Because why do Black men look down on Black women? Because the white man did it first. The white man is the first one to call the Black woman a bee during slavery, because he thought of her as no more value than a dog. That's where the word, the B word come from with women. And then it's just like, I feel like it's COINTELPRO, because it's just all of a sudden out of nowhere, all of these Black men podcasters start talking down on Black women, like, oh, well, Black women ain't shit and Black men ain't shit. And I feel like this is just another divide that they're putting off into our community, so that we won't like join together with Black men again, like it was before, like in slavery, and when we were doing Jim Crow, and when we couldn't go over and be interracially dating. You know, we had to stick with our Black men, or we had to stick with our Black women, because that's all we had. No white man wasn't gonna get with you, and if he did get with you, he was just getting with you just to have a good time, and then probably have some kids or whatever. They mixed and they confused and all that shit. And you know, I feel like it's definitely COINTELPRO. It's just another way to divide the Black community, so that Black women will not be with Black men and create the nuclear Black family, which we all know it starts at home. Strong Black men and strong Black women raises strong Black kids. And they're scared of that, because they know if we ever get our family right, that's the end of white supremacy. That's the end of that.
We ain't gonna never do that. And I say that because I feel like we're never going to be all on the same page. We have two, how do I want to say this? I feel like a lot of our mindsets have been too colonized as a whole, and a lot of us are still deeply entrenched within that, to the point where it's very hard to see eye to eye with everybody. I feel like we're never ever going to be on the same exact page. It's just like you just said, you know, and I feel like you're right about something in the aspect of they are afraid of the unity. They're afraid of Black unity. They're afraid of the nuclear family. But it's just like you said, you know, it takes a strong Black woman and a strong Black, what I just said is my bad, a strong Black man and a strong Black woman to raise strong Black children, which, yes, that's true, but there can also be different, you know, family dynamics. It can be two strong Black women raising children, two strong Black men raising, but I feel like we're so colonized in the mindset of we're easily able to be divided by the mindset of, or the simple fact of, some people would disagree with that. They think that the Black family strictly needs to be heterosexual, and that's it. That's the only way it can go. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I know that's not what you're saying. I'm just saying that's just how we
colonized in our mind.
Yeah, exactly. How colonized, where we nitpick and find things like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. No, it's supposed to be this way. No, it has to be. And I feel like it's so much of that, when really it don't have to be that way. It don't have to be structured that way, because who told us that it had to be that way? The white man told us that. And so I feel like not all of us are ready or are going to let go of that fully colonized mindset. And I feel like it's a spectrum. I feel like people are way over here to where there's, you know, that they're really colonized and they're really entrenched within the traditional mindset and the cis heteronormative, all that shit. And then you got people over here that's kind of like me, like I'm shedding that shit. Like it's certain things that I was just, or ideals I was brought up on, that I don't necessarily find to be true now. I don't look at life that way, and I just feel like we're not ever going to be able to fully look, you know, through the same lens. I'll say that.
Yeah, and that's so true about like the colonization of like us, that we can't once we think like, okay, so myself, I'll use myself as an example. For sure, I'm trying to shed away some of the thought process that I even have, because even in the gay community, being a masculine presenting woman, a stud,
Mhm.
say, then I realized that I will colonize myself, because I'm like, okay, well, the stud is kind of like the man, so I need to be taking out the trash. I need to have a manly job. I need to. You can't touch my booty.
Yeah,
You can't hold me around my waist. I gotta be
yeah,
the motherfucking big spoon.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, okay, you in the gay community, both of y'all are girls. So why are you bringing heterosexual thought process into
Into the
a
yeah.
gay
Hmm.
relationship?
Right.
And that's the colonization. That's the thing where it's this weird hierarchy where every every like dynamic has to have like this hierarchy of a man, woman, kid.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
you think about like African culture, it's always been a village raise a child. So it didn't
Right.
matter if it was your auntie and your mom raising you, or your dad and your uncle raising you, or both of your parents died and your grandma and your granddad is raising you. It's always been a village
Yeah.
vibe. So I even once I thought about that, and I got that from your first episode about ancient Egypt, and you found some articles that was talking about how it was gay people, and it was like
Hmm.
gay wasn't even like a
A
thought. It was
thing.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm a feminine man, and but I'm still a man, and that's cool. And I'm a masculine woman, and that's cool. And it's no gay going
They
on.
want,
It's
yeah,
no
they go
gay.
off of your energy, whatever energy you give it. That's, so it's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's what I go off of, energy and vibes. That's because that's mainly what see that's but that's gonna be too deep for some. I feel like it's we really supposed to be moving off of energy and the vibes and not all this other shit that we be so caught up in trying to categorize and put it, categorize within our minds. Like it
Mm-hmm.
don't have to be that way. It don't have to be so stringent, or just like you said, like, oh, I gotta take out the trash, I gotta do this, I gotta do it. Now don't get me wrong, I do find value in a strong black male and being ahead of a household and knowing how to lead, but a strong leader also knows how to follow and knows when to. It's just like I'll say with me and my fiance, it's certain things that she's gonna know more about, and I'm gonna have to fall back and follow where she's gonna, lead, as opposed to in certain things I'm gonna know more or I'm gonna have to lead. But we each put each other's input in, as opposed to I'm the man, I say what goes, you ain't got no fucking input. We're gonna go with what I want to do. It don't have to be it's a balance. I feel like life is all about balance. It's about balance. It's a balance in everything. It's a balance with men and women, masculine and feminine, balance with good and evil. It's all about keeping everything in the balance.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell to say? Exactly. Yeah. See, now look, I ain't gonna do all that now. I ain't with the incest. That's something I ain't gonna do, but I see your point. Yes, it's like they wasn't worried about no same sex was the last thing on anybody's mind, and I guess that's why it bothers me. I guess but honestly, it kind of hurts my heart, and it bothers me seeing a lot of, especially black men who who feel like they can't be themselves. They can't fully express or be themselves or be the way they want to because they are held down by these societal norms and ideologies of, oh, you have to be this way, or, oh, you, especially being a black man, you got to be tough. Like you have to have that. I've even fallen victim to that. Like I struggle with trying to find my balance now, with being a man and being a black man, because it's certain areas where I do feel like I do kind of got to turn on that. Yeah, what's up, nigga? Like you kind of got yeah, nah, and then there's other areas where I can feel like I can be a little bit more free, but it's just it's kind of, it's hard to navigate. It can be hard to navigate. I'll say that.
Yeah, I remember you saying that as well in one of your podcasts, where sometimes you just feel like you have to put on this act. And
Hmm.
I hear that a lot with black men, that they have to put on this act. And I'm honestly glad that I'm not a black man because I gotta go through a lot of shit. I just get a chance to piggyback off of all the good things like the clothes and the swag and
but you don't want to lift nothing. You don't want to do no hard labor.
I still call my brother to this day to lift that big ass refrigerator. I'm not lifting shit.
I'm not lifting that shit.
I'm not lifting this shit still to this day. That's how I know black women, whether you straight, whether you date women, whether you date men, you still need strong black men in your life because who better lift the refrigerator? Not me.
So you need them to lift the refrigerator.
Shit. So I'm just like, heard a lot of black men say like they feel like they gotta portray this person that they not. You know, I see a lot. Have you seen that meme going around where it's like, you know, black men, they don't get a chance to like express themselves because like 3 times on the internet we've made memes out of black men.
And I laugh, but it's true.
But it's true. Even you as a black man laughed at that, but you laughed out of the fact that like, dang, this is so funny because it's true. Because those guys are memes right now. And it's not a lot of women online that's memes and they crying. It's all men. But that's because of that social construct where you tell your little boy when he's little, oh, stop acting like a punk or stop
crying. Stop all that crying.
Yeah, stop all that crying. That's to your little girl. You run up to her and say, oh, let me kiss your boo-boo. Let me make you better. And that's you as your dad as a big, strong dude running up saying, oh, you know, oh, baby. And then when it comes to their son, hey, rub some dirt on it and get back out there.
Right. And I think a lot of, just like with that example, I think a lot of the more unbalanced alpha or quote unquote alpha males, black toxic males will be like, well, if you coddling them or you don't want to coddle or you don't want to, and I'm not saying you don't have to, it's just like you said, if they fall and scrape their knee, you don't have to coddle or be like, oh, you know, but you don't have to, the whole name of the game is you want to acknowledge their feelings. So, cause you want to, that's it. Basically, acknowledge their feelings. You want to acknowledge children's feelings, so that way they can grow into adults that can acknowledge feelings. You don't have to coddle, but it's a way to acknowledge the feeling. Like, hey, I know that you're hurt. It's okay to be hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to cry it out, and then we're gonna shake it off and move on. You know, instead of just shutting them down. Well, just shut that up. Well, I don't want to hear no crying. You ain't supposed to cry, because then we grow up into grown ass men who don't know how to communicate our feelings, who don't know how to, you know what I'm saying? Because I do remember, and even though I didn't grow up as, you know, a boy or whatever, I do remember being told, you know, stop all that crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And I even looking now is certain times where it's very hard for me to express myself or express certain things in, I guess, in an appropriate way, because I've even had this notion in my mind that in order for me to feel tough or to be big or I have to yell, I have to scream, I have to be big, instead of being able to calm down, manage my emotions and be, you know what I'm saying? It calls for a lot of mismanaged emotions when you really don't allow your child or children, boy or girl, you know, to acknowledge their feelings and you get what I'm saying? I feel like I'm just rambling on my words.
No, you're basically just saying like mismanagement of feelings when you're younger, it grows into this disconnect as an adult because you were just told shut up, kind of like me. Like I didn't really get told to shut up a lot, but I really wasn't noticed a lot either. So I got into this space as an adult where like no one was really around to like not correct me or anything, but I'm a middle child. You know how the middle child is. They don't get
you kind of you skate on by because
you just elder. So it's just like now I feel like I have to do everything on my own. Like there's no room to ask for help because you know, as growing up, you know, it ain't really nobody around to ask for help. You just skating by in life because the oldest child, you know, they're that, and then the only boy, and then the baby, and then it's just you. So I just grew up into this person where I'm just super independent. I'm super on my grind. I ain't asking for help, even if I need it, even if I'm drowning, even if I ain't got no money for the bus, I'm just walking to school.
Right.
Just is what it is. And that's mainly because of the stuff that I grew up with my childhood. Not really being noticed. seeing a bunch of people in my family be independent. And so, yeah, that stuff happens. And I could just only see how a man feels. I was a woman, having this mindset. I can only imagine what it was like as a man, someone that is already grown up in this social construct where you ain't supposed to cry, you ain't supposed to beg, you ain't supposed to be, doing this as a man and doing this as a man, and then you asked for help. Oh no. So yeah.
And what it is, I think what it is, they just don't want men to communicate healthily and effectively. That's what it is. Because you don't have to be emotional and express your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Nobody said that you have to be breaking down crying or begging, or you ain't got to do it. Is a way to express your emotions and be able to get your thoughts and express your emotions and your thoughts in a clear cut and concise manner, and still, be able to hold yourself intact. You can still be a man and still that's just what, and that's what I preach. That's why I try to preach to a lot of dudes. It's just move in balance. You don't have to be overly like you ain't got to do all that shit. You know what I'm saying? You move in balance, move with understanding. You do have to be in touch with a certain side of your femininity to understand or to be able to nurture or to be able to give that, because if it's no use in you being way over here on the male spectrum. It's no in because that just serves to be, like I said, unbalanced. But going back to what we were saying, just a lot of that stuff does stem from childhood. It's a lot of disconnects for a lot of us, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the name of the game. That's what I would want for this newer generation, for us having kids now, is just to be able to raise them differently, to understand, so that they don't have to have those disconnects or have those mental or emotional hurdles that honestly that we done got ourselves into. That's why we got so much toxic relationships and all the other kind of shit. Like, we're just not all that. We don't know ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We were never nurtured emotionally the way that we should have been, and that's not to no fault of our parents. I don't think. I think they were doing the best that they can. I just think this is the generation where we're waking up and trying to do things a bit differently and taking action on that, instead of just doing it like our parents did and their parents did and their parents before them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we're starting to see that all of this stuff stems from white supremacy, the hierarchy of white supremacy, the fact that white men thought that they was the end all to be all, and then they woman thought second, and then their kids grew up to think that they're third, and then everybody else is second. So then when you're Black and you see that you're not really getting anywhere in life, you start to look towards the people that are doing good in life, which are white people. And so you implement that same construct into your family, and it doesn't necessarily really work with the Black family, because we've always done things as, if you good at this, you do this. I don't care if it's financing, I don't care if it's fixing the car. If you're a woman and you know how to fix the car. And if I'm the man and I know how to cook good food, whatever the fuck we was eating back then that's what I'm gonna do. We always operated in balance back then, before we were slaves and before we was taken from our homeland, or some of the people that was already here in America. We always operated as a unit, not a hierarchy. So now we're getting into that strange space where, oh, well, this is how the white man runs their household, so this is how I'm going to run my household. We never really operated out of that.
No, because like you said, before we were even taken into slavery or anything like that, they saw the way we operated. They saw the way that we operated with no division, unity, and all. Even if we were speaking different languages and still moving under a unified like government, like it's amazing when you actually go back and like read. And so, but for them, they came in and they didn't like that, and they wanted to cause division. And if you, it's kind of like if I take you and I beat you every day, and I tell you that you ugly, and that people with locked hair are ugly, and y'all are beneath me. Eventually, if I continue to do that every day, you're going to start to believe that. And then you're going to start to think, well, in order for me to be pretty, I need to cut my hair. I need to have a short, I don't need to have locks, and that's kind of the same thing that has been done to our people. It's like we've been beaten down by this white rhetoric of, this is the way you need to do things. The way that y'all are doing it is wrong. No, that's not the way to do it. You need to do it like this. And if it's not this way, it's wrong. And so, and we see that, and we see the success that they have with it, especially within this country, and we want to emulate that because we want a piece of the pie too. And so in our minds, it's kind of like, okay, so in order to get the piece of the pie, I got to act like this. I have to conform and be this way. I have to move this way in order to. And so we started to idolize the white man instead of idolizing our own figures, and our own gods within ourselves. So yeah, exactly. it gets deep.
And you said something, I want to kind of like reverse back to, I'm going to butcher this word, femininity. But
femininity.
Yeah, of men expressing their femininity and men thinking that femininity is like, hey girl, no, that's just you opening up. You have femininity when you're a dad and you call yourself a dad girl. That's your feminine aspect coming out to your daughter, and I feel like that's the thing that's missing from the manosphere is their femininity, to be able to tell a woman what it is, because it might be good advice. Kevin Samuel has good advice. It's the way that he says it to women. You can't speak to a woman the way that you speak to a man. You can't, because men.
But he don't value women. Huh? He doesn't value women. So then it caused, he might have some gems in there here and there, but it kind of makes me wonder what is your intent? Because you can clearly tell by the way he speaks, he does not value women at all. He does not see true value, the way that you're supposed to. He doesn't see that in a woman. So it's kind of like, what's the purpose of your message? Who are you saying the message for? I feel like a lot of the men in the manosphere, they're saying the message for other men to be like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you tell that bitch. This shit, yeah.
Which honestly is gay. That's gay. A whole bunch of men cheerleading for a whole bunch of men.
Thank you.
If I was
the main ones talking about gay.
Yeah, if I was a man, I'd be like, girl, he said that wrong. I swoop right in. Girl, he a clown.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but they do that shit.
I would not be the nigga on the other end like, yeah, you tell that bitch. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what
you're gay.
It's weird. My whole thing, I have to sit back and I have to look, just like when I be on Twitter, I be like, do you niggas really love women or not? Do you just want to put like, what is it? Because you, like I said, they doing that shit for other men. Because other women are finna chime in. Well, it is some, I feel like, that who are, that's another topic for another day. But generally, the women are finna chime in and be like, yeah, we agree. You tell that bitch, we ain't, yeah. Like, no.
Now, don't get me wrong, it do be some pick-me's in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It do be some
pick-me's. Yeah, Kevin Samuel, right? All of y'all women need to pull yourselves up by your wigs. And I just be like, bro, like, you look like the crucial clown. He's talking about you.
Exactly, the pick-me's. And I don't, like, I haven't, whenever I speak on stuff like this, I never want to get the message of like I'm bad, because I'm never bashing one or the other. I want us to be able to hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? So it's never like all men are wrong, or I'm bashing all women or anything like that. But damn, I just lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. Where the fuck was I going with that?
I mean, it's cool. I could just say one more thing, going back to the femininity, because it might gear up your thought process, because that's where we was at with it, is that's what I think is missing from the manosphere. I think things like that, the way that you talk to a woman, because one of your homeboys can go up to you and say exactly what he mean, and it just is what it is, and you're not going to give him any slack for it, because you're a man, he's a man, and y'all know how men operate. But if you go in the house and you tell your girl, your fiance, the same way what he told you, or tell it what he said to your fiance, the way that he said it to you, to her, then that's going to hurt her feelings, because we're emotional beings. Women are emotional, and you can't talk to us any type of way. Even my girlfriend, when she says stuff to me, I'll be like, harsh. Don't talk to me like that. Good. Like, I'll be like, harsh. Like, you can't talk to us any type of way. You got to have a little bit of your femininity intact as a man, to talk to a woman, because your point isn't going to get across. The reason why all those men are like, yeah, tell that bitch, because they're thinking in logic just like he is. But all the women, they think that we're in the timeline like, oh, y'all just can't handle constructive criticism. No, we agree. It's just like, damn, the way that you saying it, bro, the way that you talking to us, that's an attack on us, even though it's the truth. You know, it's kind of like telling your friend their breath stink. You can say, damn, bitch, your breath stink. Or you can say, here go a piece of gum.
Here go a piece of gum, friend. Your breath is kicking right now.
Yeah, it's the way that you say things. And you really have to be careful about the way that you say things to women. It hurts our feelings, bro.
Well, yeah, honestly, that just goes into the treatment of women. It goes into caring about the treatment of women, you know, in order to actually care to tailor whatever message you're trying to tell. Because I don't listen to Kevin enough to say whether some of the shit he say is right or wrong or whatever. I don't know, but I can say that his delivery is fucked up. So he does have to change I'm a firm believer. It's no point in saying some shit if the message ain't going, you know what I'm saying? I got to say it in a way that's going to resonate with you. Otherwise, there's no point in me saying it. So, you know what I'm saying? So you're right. So with his delivery, it is missing, their messages are missing that feminine understanding, that aspect. And that's what having a balance is. It's just like you said, just having that open understanding coming from an open, nurturing aspect. And it doesn't necessarily make you weak or anything of that nature. But I'm going to go back to, I forgot, you had said something earlier. You said you feel like just all of a sudden that it's just been like a whole, but then do you feel like it's all of a sudden, or just all of a sudden now that I feel like it's become more prevalent now, I feel like, to start to try and hold men accountable? Because I feel like it's a theme, I feel like, of men not holding other men accountable in a lot of ways. And that's not all men, but a lot of men. I feel like a lot of men we don't hold our homeboys accountable. We're not holding our brothers accountable for certain fucked up shit that they do, or, you know, ways that they treat women or ideologies that they have. We don't check them on it. And it's kind of like, just because it's under the expectation of men just operate differently. That's just how we are. And it's like, that's not, just because that's just how we so-called have been, that don't mean that that's how we have to be. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like lately, I feel like the manosphere came about whenever it's been a pushback from men not wanting to be held accountable. And so it comes out of starting to then talk shit about women, because it's kind of like a deflection tactic. If you in an argument with somebody and they say, well, you don't do this, and you say, well, you don't do this shit, and it's like, we're not talking about what the fuck I don't do. The person's coming to you about what you're not doing, but you feeling defensive, so you like, well, you ain't shit either. So, you know, and I feel like it's
what aboutism?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what about this? Well, what about it? And I feel like that's honestly where a lot of the manosphere has stemmed from, starting to try and hold men accountable. Because I'm trying to figure out, at what point did the black woman get so low on the totem pole?
Yeah, because you never hear about them talking about white women, Arabic women. Actually, they be advocating for them type of women, you know, interracial dating. And I ain't nothing wrong
exotic, and they want an exotic woman.
Yeah, but let's be clear, exotic is black. We're the most exotic people out here. You talking about exotic? All the rest of their hair grow the same way, flat, down. I'm the only one that grow up. We the only one that got kinks in our hair. So if you talk about exotic, black women are the most exotic. You know, you talk about, get real deep with it, the Mighty Country Act genes.
Yeah.
You know, every shade you want. And now black woman out here that you can't have. That's your shade. You know,
every shade stems from the black one. Right.
So it's like, I just don't understand, like, the whole thing with the manosphere and how it came. Now, granted, it started off in a good place about men talking about the things that men go back, like how you talk about, you know, hey, you know, feelings and how we need to be treating women or our kids. That's how it really started out, kids and men health, mental health, and all that type of stuff. And then these clowns like Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit and the Man Cave. And I seen some other podcast on Instagram that I had to jump in the comments and say a little something to them. They didn't respond, but I left a long message because I was
You
like,
did.
yeah, because I was like, ooh, clowns, like clowns. All of
It's
y'all doing the fresh and fit thing all over again, inviting
clown.
random women to talk shit about them to get views. And why
And
did
that's
the
what it
black
is.
woman become a view? You
Mm-hmm.
talk shit about us just to get a view. That's clown, and them are
Clown
your women.
behavior.
That's your sister. That's
Your
your
mama.
auntie. That's your mama. Why are you bringing on women to degrade them for views?
Right.
I don't see you bringing on white women. I don't see you bringing on Arabic women. I don't. Why? Because they men will fuck you up.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
why. Shit, they'll have you canceled. That's why you're not doing it. So when black women have become this punching bag for every single race, every single race, the white man, the Arabic man, the Chinese man. You heard about those that one incident out there in California where those black women went in there and had to fight those Chinese men.
No,
And,
I didn't.
yeah, and nobody went and did anything. But let that have
Wow.
been reversed. Let that have been some Italian women that went in there.
Or some white women or something.
Yeah, the mafia would have been up there to shoot up the whole place. I want black men to start getting back into this space where they're the army for us. That they have to get back into this space, and they'll even give you pushback on that. Like, well, we tried to be the army, but then y'all talking about Me Too us, And I see it from that point of view because I don't necessarily support the Me Too movement.
Now, why not?
Because it geared towards this weird space where it's like believe all women. Well, if we're gonna believe all women, do we believe the woman that accused Emmett Till? Do we accuse all of those women that said Bill Cosby did what he did? Do we accuse if we're gonna believe all women, then I don't think that that's a smart move because some women lie, just like some men lie. I think that we just need to be more educated on what actually is a move, Me Too or whatever. Not you sitting on the director's couch and you making a deal with the dude that's producing the movie, and then you get the stardom and you get the role, and then you say, he touched me. No,
but what if he did though?
You guys made a deal.
What if he did though?
He did, but you know what? You shouldn't have accepted the role. You
No,
shouldn't have went back to the couch.
You can't do that because that's a power dynamic. You can't do that. You can't do that when that's a power dynamic. That was a
prostitute deal. That's what it was.
That's a power dynamic. You can't use that one.
I don't think that that's a power dynamic because at that moment when you walked in and people ain't crazy. If I walk inside of a girl's house and she invites me in and we're having a good time and I put my arm around her and she moves over and then I move over with her and then you feel the vibe at that moment where she moves over the second time. Go ahead and tell me to skedaddle. Like, just get out, or you can walk out. You can leave. You don't have to stay there.
No, that's still a power dynamic because she was in that situation, something like that. They're in a lesser powerful position, for lack of better words, and so even though yes, you can get up and leave, it's still. It's deeper than that because the person might not feel like they can, or they might feel like they don't have a choice. So that it's all about, and that falls into that power dynamic. If you feel like somebody doesn't have power over you, then you will feel like I can get up and leave at any time. Like you don't have any. You're not hanging in the balance of anything. You're not holding it. You don't have anything that I need. You don't have. I don't need you for anything. It's not a power. You know what I'm saying? It's not that uneven power dynamic. So that I don't agree with that one. That's a
Okay, so the power dynamic is, yes, of course, he has the role that you want, and you want the role as, I guess, an up and coming artist. So now the question is, are you going to compromise your standards? Like, are you going to compromise your values and your morals to get this position? Because you see this creepy, weird looking dude touching you, and you know what that's about. You know that he's touching you because he's insinuating that, hey, if you let me do this, then you can have this. At that moment, now it's a question of morals. Are you going to get up and leave and try to grind harder to go get another interview with another role with someone that's going to respect you and not put you in the weird space of that power dynamic where it's like, I got this and you need it? Or are you going to fall victim to it and let him touch you and do whatever weird stuff he's going to do, get the role, play in the movie, and then 5 years later say, oh, well, this is what happened on the director's couch? That's the thing that I don't respect. It's like, if you're gonna go with the whole Me Too, at least tell us right when the movie. Don't wait until you get the money and all of the fame and then go and tell us what happened on the director's couch.
It's so much different stuff.
In that moment, you didn't feel threatened. You didn't feel threatened.
You can't say that though. They could have felt threatened that moment. You can't say that, and they might have been afraid to say something or speak out against it, because just like Heather said, the whole power dynamic of that person has more money, better lawyers. It's their word, their reputation, their word against yours. That person might not feel like they're in a position to even say anything until at a later point. And it's not so much a thing of morality, I would say, because you never know what kind of corner that person might feel like they're backed up into. Because, you can say, well, you can just get up and leave and go to another audition or whatever. But you never know. That could be that person's 20th audition out there in LA that have moved out there. They living off of noodles. They need this. They feel like it might not be another opportunity. This person has it right here. He's telling me that he's going to give it to me. Let me just go ahead and do this uncomfortable thing that makes me point blank. But the person who's doing the victimizing, they know that they're in a position to take advantage. They know that they hold the power, and they know that they can sway or say, doing the, well, I can get you this, or it's not going to be too many people out there who are going to hire you for that role. You might as well just take it with me, but just go ahead and just let me do this with you. It's so many different things in that power dynamic. I'm gonna tell you, Shaky, I feel like that's a part of that colonized mindset a little bit.
I mean, it might be, but it is a little strange to say, okay, well, and these women are victims, whether they say something or not. They still are victims. But it is a little weird that, like, they get the fame, they get the money, and then usually, and I've seen the pattern of these women, usually they don't say anything until the roles start drying up, the movie star roles start drying up. They're not getting as much work in Hollywood anymore. And it's like, why did you wait until the well was dry to say something? Why didn't you say something while the arm was right? Because it could be that that factor of, well, they have more money and they have more lawyers and all of this, but now you got money and you got lawyers and you got this because you just did a $20 million movie. So now you have the same status that he has now. Not status, but you have the money to fight whatever you gonna go to court and say you're gonna fight. Now, because you got $20 million, now you can say something, but they don't say nothing. They wait until the well runs dry. And that's the part that makes me feel like, why you didn't say nothing? Why you didn't say nothing after you got the money or the role or whatever? Why you didn't say
at that point they still might. Honestly,
and I feel like they should, and I feel like even if you don't have the money, still say something, because I guarantee you that you're not the first one. He's done that to 100 million girls before you, and it only takes one person to stand up and say, you know what, this guy did this to me. That's literally how the Me Too movement rolled into play. One woman saying, this guy did this to me, and then out of the woodworks, everybody started saying something. So, and I've had this conversation several times on my podcast. Women need to start standing up and saying something, because when you just let it go on so long, this is what happens. This is what the world sees. They see this pattern of you just like saying something once the well runs dry, or when you ain't getting the roles in Hollywood no more, or you're not making the money that you're supposed to make anymore. And then it kind of looks like, oh, she's just saying this because she's not making money anymore. But if you said it back then when it happened, then now there's a paper trail. This happened way back in 2012. And I'm saying something again in 2022. And guess what? These other girls are also saying it. So we ain't all lying.
That's true, but here's the thing though. I can't and here's I've never been I've never been in that position. So I won't say let me back my words up. I've been in certain situations, but I've never been in a situation like, let's say, like rape or something like that. So I feel like for me, I will never speak on a woman's timeline on when they choose to speak out to say something, whether it be right after the fact, 10 years after the fact, 20 years after the fact, because the amount of emotional damage and just trauma that can be riddled on a woman and her mind after that. And it doesn't have to be rape. It can be any form of sexual assault. Just the kind of trauma that can be riddled on your mind. You never know what that person is thinking or what their logic is, or if they feel alone, or if they feel like they can say anything, or if they feel like there's somebody's going to believe them, or if they feel like. So I will never judge or be like, well, you should have said something here. You should have said something then. You should have. You never. You can't. That's something so that's something so delicate that you can't dictate that. That's not something that's just easily dictated because everybody's mind is so different, and that is such a traumatic event that can just throw you off to the point where you don't even you don't know which way to go. You know what I'm saying? Your whole body has been violated. So I can't sit up here and say or tell a woman, and I understand how it may look a certain way because yeah, if your roles have dried up or whatever have you, and it may look like you just want some money, but I gander that for majority of the women who do speak out and say that they have had some kind of sexual assault at any point or whatever have you, they're telling the truth, and for whatever reason they decided to sit on it or not or whatever, and I'm not gonna say that it's not women out there who don't lie because it is, and they do it for money or they do it. I get that, especially if we're going down the road of the historical white woman lying on being raped by the black man. We can get off into that as well, but I'd be with I'd be willing to bet that majority of women it's more women who are telling the truth than who are lying. I'll say that it's more women who are telling the truth than who are lying,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I would say that for sure. But I do want women to be stronger. I don't want them to take the bait because of some role or whatever. Like, if you're good, you're good. You're gonna get another shot. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the pressures of letting someone violate you for something that you're gonna regret in the long run. That type of stuff to me sounds like when they go and they take these roles, and even if it's not just a role, we're speaking big. Let's just lower it down to like a position at Wendy's or some shit, just to be a supervisor at Wendy's. And those type of dynamics do happen in like, regular spaces that we work in every day. But it's like, no, don't lower your morals just to get a little bit of money, because I promise you're gonna regret it later. What you do as a woman, a statute and morals, you stand up, you say fuck you, and you leave. And
it's not always that
I
easy.
promise you another role gonna come, another position gonna come, another whatever you want that man is trying to give you and corner you in with sex to make you bend to his will. I promise you it's gonna be another one. I
But they
mean,
don't always see that.
that kind of sounds like what what is that lady off of Set It Off, where she didn't want to
I'm in a bind, Nate.
yeah, I'm in a bind.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
That sounds like that shit to me.
And
That
Nate
sounds that
knew.
shit to me,
Nate
bro.
knew he was taking advantage.
Yeah, he did know that he was taking advantage, but you talking about a bad spot that she was in. Hey, I got to get my little brother to college, or I got to do whatever I got to do so that he won't be in this messed up situation. But you did what you did so that you can get what you needed, but then you can't go and yell that, oh, they took advantage of me. No, that was an exchange. You gave him some pussy, and he gave you what you wanted. That's an exchange, bro. That's prostitution.
Now that
you can't I can't see it any other way. When someone gives you something and you take it, then what is that? I mean, y'all, that's a form of trading, low key. I'm gonna give you something and you gonna give me something. and we gonna call it quits. But you can't double back around and then be like, oh, well, they took advantage of me. No, you knew what it was when you walked in the door. So
No,
that's
because
what
I
feel about it. It's
I
just my
still
opinion.
have to
I
say,
ain't
no,
saying this right,
I know,
but
and
that's how I see it.
and I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Now here's when I feel like is that I don't want to say this. Here's when I feel like it is truly a proper exchange when you are dealing strictly with a prostitute and a prostitute who has chosen I'm serious, and a prostitute who has chosen not somebody who's been trafficking, and I'm talking about a prostitute who is strictly there by her own will. I'm here. I understand the job. This is what I'm here to do. This is an exchange. I'm getting some money, some pussy. There we go. That I feel like that's the only, because I even feel like in that dynamic between Nate and her, it's kind of like she didn't want to give that up, but Nate wasn't gonna take any other form of payment. You know what I'm saying? He wanted, it was either that, and she knew that's what it was, and so it's just
So is it
it's
really
not
so?
always cut and dry.
Yeah,
And
it's not, but we're talking about situations where these women walk into these situations, and I'm not talking about where it's a forced situation. I'm not talking about those women. I'm clearly talking about women that walk into these
they in a
situations
bind.
and
you but you but if you think about it, if she hadn't been that bind, she wouldn't have slept with Nate. She didn't want to sleep with Nate. The whole
yeah,
point is she didn't want to sleep with Nate.
but the whole thing is she was in a bind. Just like you're talking about these actresses that think that they ain't never gonna see another role. So what are they in? A bind.
A bind.
So what happens?
And the person
they
who
exchange pussy for this role. That's
but it is on
what they
it's
did.
on the person who has the more power, because they know that that person is in a bind, and they know that they're in a position to take advantage, and they go ahead and they do it. It's just like, I don't know if your mom ever told you when you was younger and you was fucking around with your little sibling and you was like, well, they did that, and they were like, well, you older, so you knew better. The person of the higher power dynamic, they know better. That's the whole thing. And honestly,
I see that. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and by us, or not by us, I'm gonna say by you, because I'm not agreeing with this. But by
I'm just saying,
I know you can say your
prostitution,
opinion,
bro.
but by you, you know, saying, by you questioning the woman's morality as opposed to questioning the person who's doing the taking advantage of, that plays into the.
They're definitely scumbags. This scumbag is always gonna be a scumbag.
But we need to hold the scumbags accountable.
Yeah, we definitely need to hold the scumbags accountable for sure. But like you said, so many women then allowed him to do this that he think that the next one that comes in is going to allow him. It only takes one to say, no, I'm not doing this. And guess what? I'm finna tell on you without the role, without the money, without everything that you're going to offer me, all the lights and the glitter and glamour. I'm going to tell on you. I'm going to go file a police report. And guess what? It's going to be another woman just like me that ain't going to take the bait. And now her paper trail is there. And guess what? It's going to be another woman that does the same thing that we did. And now we have a paper trail on you. So now when the last woman comes in and possibly kill you or deck you in the nose and she gets an assault charge, guess what? We got this whole paper trail of women since 2002 that's been saying you've been doing this. We got to be a little bit smarter. We got to stop we got to stop taking the bait and then yelling whoop at the very end. We can't do that because that it like takes away from our goal of how men treat us, you know, because like I said, all these women, he feels comfortable to do it because it was so many women that allowed him to do it instead of just being like, no, I don't care about this role. I'm not about to get ready to lower my standards and my morals. It's something that I'm never going to do as a woman. No man could ever make me do, no matter how much money they give me, how much whatever they give me. They could say, oh, you know, top podcaster right now, if you let me touch that ass. And I'm not gonna, well, I don't know.
All right. I don't know.
If he's just talking about touching ass, but if he's talking about, you know, doing some weird gang bang, no.
All right.
Like, no, I'm not about to do that. That's way below my morals. And I don't like men. And I don't like you like that. And guess what? I'm not only about to tell the police, but I'm about to tell my girlfriend too.
But
I'm about to tell on you, boy.
everybody don't have that kind of confidence, and especially in that setting at that at that moment to be like, hey, like I'm not down with this. And you got to think from the perspective of, like I said, it depends on sometimes if you in a bind. You're not in a bind right now. I'm for real. You good. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different if you was. I'm trying to tell you, it's a whole. Your mind works totally different when you are in survival mode. And I'm not saying that just means that you're gonna go willy nilly just throwing pussy. Like no, I'm just saying like generally
throwing
though.
this gay pussy
You,
around.
like generally, like you do operate differently when you're in survival mode. It's just kind of like if I would have to take a job, it's kind of my bad. Let me back my words up. It's kind of like if I'm in a severe bind and I just need a job, I'll take McDonald's. But on the regular, if I'm not in a bind, fuck no, I'm not gonna work in no goddamn McDonald's. I'm above that. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be my general. Not to say there's anything wrong working at McDonald's. Not to say but I'm just saying. But with me being in a survival mindset of, oh damn, like this bill is due, I ain't got no money, like I really really need a job, let me just go ahead and just pick up something.
Now I do agree with you about the whole bond thing, but the nature of these women had already been in movies, had already got some little cho-chos and some change. And that's why I'm just like, I still put it on both parties. It's just that I'm looking at the woman a little bit more because I'm like, you could have got up out of there. You didn't have to do that shit. You didn't have to do that shit. You already got money. You already had status as a woman in the industry. You did not have to do that. You clearly didn't. You already had money. You didn't have to do that. You could have left. And like I said, I'm not saying that the man is off the hook. That dude's a scumbag. He needs to be underneath the jail. Because you're right with the whole dynamic. He knows better. He knows that this woman wants this role and she literally will do anything to get it, even if it means degrading herself to get it. But it's like, you don't have to degrade yourself to get it. You don't have to do it. You can walk away. You're not in a bind. Now, prostitutes and regular people, if they in a bind, okay, it is what it is. But
a prostitute, that's a job.
No. Superstar millionaires, no. I no.
We gonna have to just disagree on that one because I don't feel right putting any blame on the woman, even when you can freely get up and walk out. It's too much emotional like power factors. It's too much unseen factors that's just not as simple as cut and dry. Well, you just get up and walk away. Just get up. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I would do. I would just get up.
Well, yeah, but that's what you do. But like I said, everybody don't, everybody different.
It's literally the club thing. You see an ugly girl at the club, you ain't got to take the number. You can just get up and walk away with the drink if you want to. It's just
I'll take the drink if you don't buy it for me.
See, that's the power dynamic.
Well, I mean, if you bought it for me.
I'm fucking with you. I get what you're saying. It's on both parties, but yeah, that's my opinion about that whole thing. But circling back around to the original point, that's what men would say, is that we tried to protect women, but you guys Me Too'd us, and now we're even scared to say, hey, little mama, because y'all might say, oh, rape. I think that's some beta shit. It's a way that you say, hey, little mama to somebody. I think that men are just used to being aggressive and getting their way. And now that women are like, no, handle me with care, nigga. Then they're like, handle you with care. I'm used to saying, what's up, bitch? So
that's exactly what it is. That's in a nutshell. It's kind of like now I just feel like women are like, nah, nigga, don't handle me like that. And we used to get in our way and doing what we want to do. And now it's kind of like, treat you with respect, bitch. I didn't have to do that before. Why I gotta do that now? That's what I feel like it is.
I feel like it's this weird thing that's going on in the community, not the Black community, just overall, is that the pendulum is swinging from like this far right side where just men could do whatever they wanted to, and now we're swinging way over to like, yeah, women are being heard, and you niggas are gonna straighten up, or y'all gonna get the fuck up out of here, and then it's gonna get to this middle ground where men are also heard and they're acting right, and women are also heard, and they're catering more to men in a way that men want to be catered to and listened to and stuff. And we're gonna get to that middle ground one way, but the pendulum gotta swing before it gets to that middle.
Yeah, because you gotta be able to break, a lot of those old toxic ass ideologies that are way over on this side. You know what I'm saying? We gotta swing it back over, break some of that shit out, and but I feel like it's not only that stuff with women, it's just stuff as a whole, like just our culture, our norms as a whole, just like with the whole seeing more gay men in TV shows and stuff like that. It's breaking the mold on a lot of things that I feel like we thought were one way and they're not really, that way. But I feel like that was a pretty good hour of a conversation. I don't want to hold up too much more of your time.
Yeah, you have to clip and cut all this shit.
yeah. But
I be trying to keep it at an hour too. The last podcast I just did is 2 hours and 24 minutes long.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yeah, we definitely cutting some of this shit out, bro.
See, I want to get my stuff up to that kind of.
Don't, it's a pain in the ass. You'll hate it. You're gonna hate clipping it. You're gonna hate cutting it. And most of the time, people's mindset isn't even ready unless you already have like a set audience that love to listen to your content and can listen to you talk for hours. Most people are listening to you 35 minutes max.
Well, that's why I say I want to get to that place because I feel it's just like Joe Budden's podcast. Joe Budden. I listen to Joe Budden's podcast. His shit can be 2 hours plus, but he has a set audience and people are looking to listen to that. So I feel like once I get a set audience who want to listen that long, I can do it. But I feel you, people's mind, they attention span.
TikTok, they're literally telling people on TikTok, make your video 7 seconds long. And I'm like
how the fuck I'm supposed to do that and get the point across?
Yeah, in 7 seconds, like, yeah, fuck all men and fuck all bitches. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say in 7 seconds? Like, you already know I talk slow. I mean, everybody say I talk fast, but in my mind, it be going like this. But when I say it, I be tripping up, and it's just
that's how I am. I be afraid I be sounding stupid because I trip on my words, but it's because there's so many thoughts going on in my head. It was like say this, say this, say that, say this, say that, and it's like I gotta all make it flow together. Yeah, it be.
Do you have points wrote down before you start your podcast?
Sometimes, and then other times I just like today, I just kind of came in here was just like, ooh. I'm a lazy podcaster. I will say that.
When I have a guest, I can do it. I like with you, like if someone invites me on, I can freestyle because it's just a conversation. I can just flow. Right. But when it's something like dealing with a certain topic,
right. Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah.
Pages and this was just for one interview. Pages.
But then I hate writing down all them notes because I feel like I'm trying to constantly read or remember my notes and then talk.
You got ADHD, bro.
I do. I do, and it be killing me, kicking my ass.
I've been thinking about a prompter.
Oh,
yeah. And so I have all my talking points, but I'm looking into the camera and I'm saying what I need to say.
Right.
But even still then, I feel like that's kind of disingenuous a little bit as a podcaster because it's like, oh, this is supposed to be a podcast. This is supposed to be free. This is supposed to be flowing thoughts. Yeah. But I just can't. I think I got ADHD. I can't do that shit. It's so much shit going on.
I be the same way. But that's why I like it better when I have other people to talk and bounce ideas off of, because for one, whenever the people are talking, it kind of gives me a minute to kind of rest and get my thoughts together for a minute, and then so I enjoy it. I much rather enjoy talking with other people as opposed to just doing it by myself, and that's kind of one reason why I'm kind of like do I need to call it quits on this or just end the season and gear back up for another season, because whenever I don't have guests, I'll be like, I don't really want to just sit here and talk by myself. But
yeah, I'm a truck driver, so I'm constantly always talking in my mind for 10 hours by my damn
by yourself.
So I just bring this thing and just write all the stuff. Like I was over there talking about currency, and I was like, it wasn't even a high moment or nothing like that. I was just like, dang, time is currency. And I just started going down this whole rabbit hole about time is really currency, and really the rich people out here is kids type shit. And I'm just like, And I'm just like, damn, like that's all I do is just talk to myself in my head all the time. So then I come home, do a podcast, and yeah, of course I gotta write out my notes or whatever. But yeah, definitely talking to people on your podcast is way better because, like you said, it sparks another conversation out of another conversation, and yeah, talking to yourself and just ramping off all the points that you want to say is kind of boring sometimes. It do
It
kind of
is.
like,
Because I
but
enjoy having just like how we we're having our own feedback. I just enjoy going having different viewpoints as opposed to me just going off and say what I got to say.
yeah, see that
But
whole discourse that we had about the whole Me Too movement.
right.
I would have
But
just ran down for a whole 10 minutes about how some of
how you
these
feel
women are
like
janky out here, and I wouldn't have had no pushback except for probably Heather in the background, like,
yeah, like no, I know Heather be over there like no, don't say that.
I still be saying it because I feel like, and I said this the other day, I was like, ooh, whenever I get big, it's gonna be some fucking idiot that goes back into 2019 and grab one of my podcasts and be like, look.
Where you didn't know no better, where you
Yeah.
on some shit that you changed your mind about now, you don't be
Yeah.
enlightened. You gonna be like, I don't even think that no more.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about that because I see a lot of people, Kevin Hart, he's a big one. He got a tweet from 2012 pulled up, and then he couldn't host the Oscars because he said something about gay people or his son being gay or something. And I'm like, that's gonna be me one day, but I'm not gonna take down anything because I want people to see the growth. I want people to see that, like, dude, I'm human just like you. I've had stupid mindsets where I'm like, no, this is wrong. And then 5 years later, I'm like, no, that's kind of bigoted of me. And, just change. I want to make humans great again. Let humans be human again. Like, we're human. We're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to change our mind. And it's not some fucking 12-year-old kid that's still in school responsibility to bring up a tweet from 2002 and say, look, this person be talking about gay people. And I'm like rich and famous now, but in 2002, y'all didn't give a fuck what I was saying because I had 12
y'all didn't even care about my little tweet.
2 views. Like,
That's gonna be, I know it's probably gonna be something that I'm gonna have to explain later on down the line. But like you said, people grow, they evolve. It's a lot of things that I completely disagree with, and now I'm, you know what I'm saying? So I can't even go off of shit that I used to think. That shit is so, I'm a completely different person. So but like I said, thank you for joining me. I guess we can go ahead and wrap this on up. And
this was fun, man.
It was nice, and it was nice talking to you again, because I remember we ain't did podcast shit since before the pandemic.
Yeah, when I was back at the office. Yeah.
Right, you was back at the.
I wanted to give some of your content time to breathe because I knew once you left, you said you was gonna start up a podcast, and I was like, that's great, but I can't have him back on back to back. You gotta get his shit popping,
Yeah, well, I'm getting my shit popping now though. So
yeah, I can't wait to hear Pour It Up, and I want all of you guys, now that I know how to work this whole Zoom StreamYard thing, I want all you guys to come on now with Crowder. And let's talk about some real topics about men feelings, I guess.
We can definitely do that. Yeah,
gonna be
we can live stream it.
Not a man in the building, because some of y'all be crying. Some of y'all men be crying,
and we need to have the space to cry. It's okay, not crying too much though. I don't even like crying, but it's needed sometimes. It's a way to cry with dignity, I feel like.
Don't be making them Jordan faces now. That ain't dignity, bro. That's you losing the damn.
You can't be doing that face all out in public. Like, no, like no.
Yeah, I know your listeners are going hard on me in the comments, like, this bigot. Fuck y'all.
Damn, I'm not telling my people. Fuck y'all.
Shit, I'm Crowder. I will crack on my own podcast. Go call me a bigot in my comment section there. Give my views.
That's right. Go ahead and drop your socials.
You can reach me on Alwood Crowder on all streaming platforms. That's your YouTube. That's your Spotify, Anchor, Google Play, Apple Play, and you can reach me on An Hour with Crowder on all social media platforms. Facebook and Instagram, and Crowder the Great on Twitter. So yeah, if you want to call me a bigot and I don't know what I'm talking about, go do it on that shit. Don't do it here in the comment
don't
section.
do it. Don't come on.
Like, go do it on my shit.
I agree with the Me Too. Nah, I ain't gonna throw you under the bus. Nah. And y'all make sure to go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I Said What I Said with Guap. Also go ahead and follow on Instagram. I Said What I Said _ with Guap, GWAP. And we will check in with you guys later. And thank you for listening.
For sure.
But I ain't telling shit.
Yeah, only gonna say this shit once, ain't gonna say it again. Finna go roll me a blunt, then back it right up with a pen. I had to make this shit bounce, I had to open accounts. You talk about taking me out, but really you only been asking for clout. Say the truth while you capping, let the people know what happened. You ain't even a distraction, you at peace while you mad then.